Steve. He's the number one guy. Head cook.
He's busy. He doesn't like picture taking.
We've got ice, though.
Chucky, what's the chow for tonight?
We have steak and beans for tonight. And potluck.
Ah, yum.
This is our kitchen. Okay. Dutch ovens at your barbecue. I made peach cobbler last night. It came out really good.
You're hired.
Sweet and gooey.
Yeah, what's for tonight? What's in there?
In the Dutch oven?
Yeah.
Beans and beef.
Ooh.
A special secret sauce.
Captured on the channel?
Tan went to Vietnam
Just
to visit family and took his son, Corey, which he's 6 or 7. So the two of them went. You gotta get me some spurs.
I think so. We can hear you coming that way.
Dinner soon.
Pretty near everybody's close to being gathered up. For you guests that are here this evening, I hope you've all had a chance to visit a little bit with your participants and see and visit with them about their trip and how it's going and everything. And we've been having a great time. The weather's been nice, the horses have been good to us, and things are really going well. It's going to be exciting tonight to kind of have a little old potluck with everybody, and I hope I get a chance to visit with all of you that have showed up. With the participants, it's kind of neat to meet everybody. You don't even know who drops their kids off, and then once you meet the kids and get to know them, it's kind of starting to put faces with that guy you saw at the parking lot that was worried about the kid with the whatever. So it's kind of neat to kind of start to put everybody back together and figure out who comes with who. The way tonight will work, we'll start by having the guests come through and eat, and the participants will come in shortly after that. And we'll just sit down and have an enjoyable time. There's seconds on everything until it's gone.
In the stirrups and my horse is on the bus. Smooth flashing lightning through a cloud of golden dust. And the ball and all the cavalries are coming down the wind. To find a light from riding would be mighty hard to find. Just riding, splitting long cracks in the air. Stirring up the baby cyclone, ribbon up the prickly pear when I'm riding.
Soon you get to feeling you're on trails where few have trod. You wonder how you ever doubted if there really is a God. Upon the ridge the boss reins in, so you gather up around. It's from here he'll call the circle. So you step off to the ground, you loosen up your latigo. You air your pony's back. You arrange again your blankets and you realign your cack. Then you mount back up to get dropped off. Check to see who's on each side. You're glad that you're a cowboy and you feel a twinge of pride.
I don't need no art exhibit when the sunset does it best. Ain't everlasting glory on the mountains to the west. And your opera seems so foolish when the night bird starts to tune. It's silver mounded by the touches of the moon. Just riding, riding, who could envy kings and gods? When the coyotes down the valley are singing to the stars, and I'm riding.
We ate breakfast by the Coleman, hurried around to beat the sun. You've got 11 miles behind you, but it's here the work's begun. Now in town, when folks must travel to their workplace every day, it's said that they're commuting to their jobs to earn their pay. They sit in crazy traffic jams, fight for seats on bus or train. It's amazing that this ritual doesn't drive them all insane. We too, I guess, commute to work as the job at hand dictates. But we commune while we're commuting. What a difference that makes.
My earthly trail is ended and my final bacon's curled. The last great roundup's finished at the home edge of the world. I don't want no parks, no halos, roads, no other messed up things. I started on a pistol horse's wing. Just riding, riding, nothing I'd like half as well as rounding up the sinners that have wandered out of hell. I'm riding, just riding, riding, desert rippling in the sun. Mountains blue along the skyline, who could envy anyone when I'm riding? Who could envy anyone when I'm riding?
The afternoon of that there year was coming on, as I recall, meaning summer had hit the flat rock and slid right down into fall. Well, the days were warm and pleasant, so the nights were kind of sharp, but I had a nice snug little ranch house to keep the cold wind off my tarp. The maple leaves were turning yellow. Bees was buzzing around the hive. It was one of them days when it was great just to be alive. Well, I was jogging along that morning looking out beneath my hat. I figured that I'd make a little circle down around Two Brothers Flat and maybe brand some big slick yearling with the address of this farm, because I sure did need to loosen up my old stiff roping on. Well, I'd been kind of traveling down this little open draw when I come around a corner, and I was shocked at what I saw. I just pulled up there a-gawking. My old eyes went plumb agog. Why, there's a big old brindle he-bear digging ants out of a log. My heart began to pound and I couldn't get no air. I figured that I'd never get a better chance to rope myself a bear. So I'm trying to get my rope down and my old pony begins to dance, but heck, old Bruin, he ain't hurt us. He's still busy digging ants. Well, I get my rope tied hard and solid, and I built my loop with care, and I let out a cowboy war whoop, and I built right through that bear. That old beast heard me coming, and he beat it for the trees. There weren't no moss growing on him, and he sure did split the breeze, but I just pulled in right behind him, and like that Bible story told, cast my bread upon the water. It come back 1,000-fold. Well, I pitched my slack right at him, and I turned my pony neat, and I heard him grunt and hit the ground as I jerked him off his feet. Then I towed him towards the timber just the way it should be done. Heck, there was nothing to it. Roping bears was lots of fun. Well, in the timber, I got busy dodging limbs and brush and such, and hadn't had time to check up on my cargo very much, but I'm going to start by breaking in the lead. At least that's what I hoped. And I look back, hear that bear come. Just like that, right up my road. Things are sure looking different, so I tells him, okay, Bruin, I'll pay a little more attention to this little job I'm doing. I'll just zig and zag and circle some. You just follow me, because I'm about to bash your brains out on some big old jack pine tree. Well, I zigged and zagged and circled, but seemed to no avail. Next time I checked, old Teddy's right behind my horse's tail. Well, about then, my horse made this funny little jump, and that bear commenced to climbing up my rope across her rump. Well, I hooped and howled and squallered, and I slapped him with my hat, but that bear was plumb determined he was going to get up there where I was at. I've known a lot of fellers in the hills and on the plains, and nobody ever told me I was overblessed with brains. And it didn't take no Einstein with no special high IQ or no call from God to tell me what that bear was going to do. Now, I know a coward's way out's a bad one in most anybody's book, but well, that's the only route left open now, so that's the one I took. I just bailed off and chucked it to him. Big old rock broke my fall. I hollered out, oh boy, it looks to me like you just bought her all, and as they went crashing through the timber, I realized that I just lost a darn good saddle and the company lost a horse. And how's a fellow supposed to tell it with the bosses standing there? You took a plumb good horse and saddle and just give him to a bear. Well, these thoughts and lots more like them went running through my mind as I went limping down that cow trail trying to leave that wreck behind. Well, my clothes were sort of tattered, and I'd lost some chunks of hide, but my body wasn't hurting near as much as was my pride. Then I heard a noise behind me, and the sound began to swell from the way that I just come from, and I wondered what the... And I seen my horse a-comin', stepping lively down the slope. That bear's up in my saddle, got a loop belt swinging my rope. Here's another true story.
He's coming.
He's coming over. You probably went to bed already. Well, I'll brag on about the cooks. When I first started in '88, the first truck I went on was before I actually worked for the council full time. I was a truck driver, and what a truck driver did was drive around, pick up all the food each day. You only had as much food as you needed for the day, and we cooked in patrol fashion. Some of you scouts know what patrol fashion is. You guys that aren't in, that means you have 7 people together in a group, and you guys did all the cooking when you got to camp. You can imagine, with as hard as we worked throughout the day, how miserable that would be. In 1990, we switched that over, and I asked my brother, who was a college student that never cooked a meal in his life, and one of my good friends, Jim Hill, to come and cook. He'd never cooked either. And that was quite the interesting trip. Sooner or later, that trip we had a lady, an adult lady on the trip that said, "Guys, you got some major problems here with this feeding system. I'd like to come and cook for you." That was my first true cook, and we cooked out of the Dutch ovens ever since. Modified stuff from doing it all over a campfire with fire irons to doing it with a Dutch oven table and a propane stove and this and that. But the food's still excellent. At this time, Steve is here. So Steve and Tim, come on out here. All these guys that are coming up here tonight are guys that have full-time jobs somewhere, and they take time off their vacation, and they come on these trips. They take time away from their families for the most part, and come out and help make it possible for us to be able to run these things. So, you folks give these guys a big round of applause, and all thanks. We won't be nearly as long-winded on the next couple. No. On the next few. Truck drivers, Andy and Josh, why don't you guys come out here? I can talk